Hello guys and welcome back to another episode of Time Travel. And now today we're going to be going back to 1995, specifically March 1995. And we're going to be taking a look at a very obscure piece of software to come out of Microsoft. And that, as I'm sure you can probably tell from the title, is Microsoft Bob. And this is just a very interesting idea for a piece of software that came out of Microsoft. As it was designed to make computers easier to use for people. You know, I mean, this was even back before Windows 95 came out. This was in March of 1995, and people, you know, there were some people that thought the Windows 3.1 program manager was a little bit too difficult for them to navigate and use on a daily basis. So what Microsoft Bob was like, what its main purpose was to give novice computer users a way to use their computer in a more sort of interactive way that would make it, you know, much easier than the Windows 3.1 program manager. So yeah, it was not an operating system in and of itself. Rather, it was a software interface, like a whole separate program that would run on top of an existing Windows installation. And while it may sound like it was a great idea, this product was not really that successful, and you're gonna see that probably when we first open the application for the first time. But yeah, it was not widely accepted by most of the consumers because it was actually thought of as a kids program by most people. You know, it kind of looks that way, and again, you're gonna see that once we actually get into it here. But yeah, let's just get started with the installation. This is under Windows 95, by the way. So this, you know, whole start menu interface was not out at the time. You know, Windows 95 wasn't out at the time of Microsoft Bob's release. It was I think like a few months after that, Windows 95 came out. So you know, just kind of compare how Microsoft Bob looks to Windows 3.1. That's going to be a little bit easier comparison. But anyway, so let's just get into it. We have the My Computer window open up here, and we have the Microsoft Bob ISO file. And by the way, there will be a download link to this down below if you guys want to, you know, download this and install it for yourself on a real computer or a virtual machine, or, you know, whatever that you guys want to use. So yeah, we're just going to open this up here, and we're going to run the setup program right here. And you can see up here, it looks pretty nice so far. It says Microsoft Bob setup up here in this, you know, very cool looking font. And it's gonna install probably like any other Windows, you know, program. I mean, the whole installation is very like there's not really that much special about it, except for a few things which I'll mention once they come up here. So we're just going to click on OK here, and apparently it's detected that the MAPI spooler is running. I'm just gonna click on OK. I think that's fine if we have it running in the background. So we're going to type in our name here, and we're going to confirm our name, and this is our product ID right here. We're just going to click on OK to confirm that. Now it's going to search for installed components, and there's probably not going to find anything because I've never used Microsoft Bob. Alright, so it is giving us this pretty interesting error message asking us that we need to have at least 8 megabytes of RAM, and I put this Windows 95 VM's RAM to like 64 megabytes, so I guess it thinks that's a little bit too much. Again, this was around the time of Windows 3.1, so you know, Windows 95 computers weren't really out yet. So yeah, it thinks that, you know, there's something wrong with it seeing all that RAM. I think it's only seeing part of it or whatever. So, but yeah, it's probably going to run fine. So I'm just going to ignore that for now. And this is probably the one interesting part of this like installation, because instead of having just like a button down here at the bottom that says next, you have the button to say exit setup and help, and you actually have to continue by clicking on the Bob face up here, which is just kind of weird. I don't know why they went with that design option, but I guess this was just something they wanted to do to make it Because again, this was for novice computer users. This wasn't intended for people that knew a lot about computers. So I guess they, put it there to make it more user friendly, sort of. So yeah, it's going to ask us to confirm these different program groups. I guess we're just going to install under the Microsoft Bob group, and this is probably another very important part of the installation. Would you like to start Microsoft Bob automatically whenever you start Microsoft Windows? We're just going to click on yes here, because what it's going to do is whenever that the virtual machine restarts and boots up into Windows 95, it's going to instantly start Microsoft Bob, so we can get into that interface. And that's something else that was intended for people that didn't really know a lot about computers. I guess starting applications would be a little difficult, so they just put that option in there to make it a lot easier. But yeah, now we're going through the rest of the Microsoft Bob setup, which probably isn't going to take that long because we are in a Windows 95 virtual machine, as I've mentioned. And it's going through its list of featured applications up here at the top left, and we're going to probably go through all of these in more detail later, as there is a lot to talk about with this piece of software, Microsoft Bob. There's a lot of things to mention. So now it's going to ask us to restart the computer, so we're just going to do that here, and it's going to log us off. Now I am using Microsoft Plus, that's why we got all those different sounds. Which, by the way, if you haven't seen the Microsoft Plus for Windows 95 time travel, yeah, that's where I took a look at Microsoft Plus for Windows 95, and actually installed it on the same virtual machine. So if you guys want to see that, I'll probably have a link down below. So we're just going to log back into Windows, and you see instantly it cuts off the sound, and it just brings up the giant Bob face, which looks just huge on this 1920 by 1080 monitor. And it left all these windows open because I think these were open on the restart, so we just have to close out of them. But you can see that yeah, this is what Microsoft Bob looks like. And by the way, this is the Gateway 2000 edition, as you can probably tell by this right here. This was a separate edition of Bob that included some more extra features, and it offered this logo branding. It was also bundled with Gateway machines. So it's going to ask us to click on the door to sign in. There's supposed to be like a little door knocker here, but okay, there it just showed up. So I guess that was because the windows were open. So yeah, so it says who's there? To sign in, choose your name on the list. So all there is a guest here. So we're going to choose the first option, which is click here if your name isn't on the list. And it's going to ask you, are you new to the home? We'll just say yes. And it's going to say, welcome to Bob. My name is Rover Retriever, but you can just call me Rover. Before you can move into your home, I need to ask you a few questions. Okay. So we're just going to go through. This is where it asks you for your name and stuff, and your hometown. I don't think we have to put in all of this. Well, yeah, see, so we have to fill in everything. So we'll just, fill some. Let's do 1. Yeah, so you have to fill in everything here. It's very picky about that. 1/1/1980. What's a password all about? So now it's going to ask you to enter in a password to kind of protect your account. So we'll just do that here. And you can see how intended for novice users this is when it says down here that the little symbols that show up is my way of disguising your password. So obviously, I mean, I think everyone knows that today, honestly, that when you type and passwords come up like that is because it's a password. But of course, this was way before like what we think of today as the modern internet and all that kind of stuff. So I guess that was some put in for novice users. So we'll just make a very basic password here, and we'll put it again. And yeah, it asks you for your address and your city and town, your state, all this kind of stuff that I don't know why exactly. I mean, I think there's some applications that need it, but it just, it feels like it asks way. Oh, actually, okay, so we don't have to enter in any of that stuff. That's very useful, because I didn't really want to put in all that stuff. So now it says that your home comes up with shared rooms, and rooms are, by the way, the folders, I guess you could say, in Bob. Like, it's a room, and it has like a bunch of applications in it, and you can use the doors on the side, which we'll take a look at in a minute, to go to other rooms. Well, all these rooms are shared with everyone that uses Bob, and this right here lets you make up your own private room. You can have like your own like private applications or something like that, or like your own room design, or whatever you would want, and you can choose what different type of room that you want. So I'll just say the attic, I think, would be kind of cool to see how that looks. Which the attic is actually an exclusive room to the Gateway 2000 edition. It was not in the main version of Bob. Anyway, we'll just click on next here, and it's going to say nice one. You're also to enter your Bob home. So we'll say actually, it says, will you be starting DOS or Windows programs from inside your home? If so, I'll need to go look for them. So let's say go get them. And now it's going to take all of your Windows applications and put them into Bob. Another thing that was intended for people that didn't want to use Windows because Windows was way too complicated for them. They could just launch all their existing applications from Microsoft Bob. So we're just going to click on Take the Tour here. And now you're going to go inside the Bob home, is what it's referred to as. So yeah, this is it. This is what the home looks like. It's just a room with a bunch of cartoonish designs with these doors on the side that you can move around and navigate different parts of the Bob home. So he's going to take us through a little tour here. So we'll just I'll click on Start here, and so it says, hey, where's the manual? There isn't one. When you want to do something, just follow your guide. So the guides, which will be Rover, as well as you can change the guide, which we'll take a look at in a minute as well. The guides act as like your personal assistant and sort of like a manual, as he's saying here. So you don't really need any manual. And this is going to ask us about your DOS and Windows programs, which you can also run from under Bob, which would make it kind of like its own operating system, but it's not really. So we'll have to click on that, and so it says, so these are all of the different tools that it has here. And so we're first going to talk about the letter writer, which lets you write letters. Kind of obvious, but this kind of like a basic word processor. The calendar is also pretty self-explanatory. It's just going to show you the date, and you can also put in certain calendar events into there, and I guess be reminded of them in the future. You can see here, yeah, it says I can give you reminders about things that you've scheduled. I can also print your calendar by the day, week, or month. So you can also print this to your printer. The checkbook was, again, pretty self-explanatory. It's a basic checkbook. You can keep track of all your finances. The financial guide, this actually gives you a collection of customizable checklists for planning personal financial goals and keeping important records. The household manager lets you, I guess, manage your Bob household. It's also the place where I keep your records for all sorts of things. Yeah, this is basically like a main record keeper. Email, pretty self-explanatory. You can use a Bob email to actually get email in this program. So let's do next, Rover, and the address book, for storing all your addresses. And finally, Geo Safari. I think this is the end. I'm not sure, but yeah, basically it's a game. If you've ever heard of Geo Safari, they had actual board games type of things that were not on a computer that was Geo Safari. So this is just like a exclusive Microsoft Bob version of that. And it says putting it all together, the programs in the Bob home work together. So he's going to give you a basic scenario here. So add a friend's birthday. So your address book and the birthday will appear automatically on your calendar. And then he'll watch your calendar to remind you for the big day. When you use letter writer to write a birthday letter, he'll get the address from the address book. So again, something to, just let average novice computer users not even think about, like, oh, I have to go add this person's address into my letter. It's just automatically done for them. Same with when you schedule an event in your calendar. Like, you don't have to think about Rover here, like actually reminding you for it. He just does it automatically. It's one of those very interesting aspects, and it makes me kind of wonder why this wasn't successful, because I think there's a lot of potential here in this program. But of course, you can see. Actually, we'll just read this here. So it says, Bob has some really great sounds. We can hear them. This is where it's just going to ask you to change your audio volume. You can, of course, change that if you want to. And he gives you a little bit more info about himself. He's just like a fake cartoon character, but he just tells you that he is one of the many personal guides that you have. And that's the end of the tour. Alright, so now what we're going to be doing is going through most of the Bob applications. Now, most of these are pretty self-explanatory, and they don't really need like that much of an explanation. But some of them have some pretty interesting and cool features that we're going to be taking a look at. So I guess we'll just start off with the Bob letter writer, which is right here. Or actually, I think it's this one. Yeah, this is the Bob letter writer, and you can see that I was in here before making a test letter. That was actually a while ago, but anyway, so we're going to click on Start Program, and it's going to begin starting up the Bob letter writer. And you can see that he gives you all these different prompts about tips. I think you can turn these off. We'll just actually do that. So, but one of the things that made Bob kind of, I guess, not really that successful, or just like one of the things that got people kind of annoyed, is that it prompted you a lot to do like everything. Like, you would have to go over here to your personal guide and like, confirm that you want to do everything. Like you can't just go in here and just like start typing out something. Like, you have to go in here and he says, okay, well, what would you like to do? So obviously you would say, well, I want to create a new letter. So you do that. And then he's going to say, okay, what do you want to name the new letter? So we're just going to name it Test 2. And, some of these options are like actually kind of useful. Like, you can choose if you want to keep this like a private document or not, which can be very useful. We'll just say yes, share it with others, which is the default option. And this portion here is also very useful as well. You can actually select a letter template, and if you don't want to do that, you can just select, I just want to start typing, and just go in and start typing. So we'll just do a change of address right here, and we'll go onward. And so now he's going to ask you if you want some text to, help you start writing. So you can say yes or no. I'll just say yes. And you can also add a border around it if you want. So we'll do this one. This looks fine. And you can also change the border size, like if you want to do, I don't know, 50, or not 508, but 50. You can do that. And yeah, you see the border changes. We'll just bring it. How about 30? Oh, so we have to. I didn't want to remove it. I want to do that. Okay, that was weird. Oh, I have to choose the border again. Okay, we'll do that one. Okay, whatever. That's fine. So then we'll do next. And this is also a pretty useful part. You can actually just choose addresses from your address book and just like have it auto-complete the addresses over here, which would save you a lot of time just like having to type out the whole thing. So you can see that the whole personal guide thing can be very useful in some applications, but in some, which you're going to see in a minute, it gets kind of annoying having to like go over here and say, yeah, I'm sure I want to press this button or whatever. It just gets kind of annoying. And I think that's one of the reasons that is why this wasn't widely accepted. So we'll just so now it's gonna actually tell us that we can start typing if we want to. So we can get our like basic font options down here. We can change our font and our font size and everything. and we can make the font bold and, you know, centered and like everything that we would do here. And we can also click on print or read and, you know, print it if you want to. I don't have a printer hooked up, but if you click on set up printer, it's just going to bring up the standard Windows error that says there's no default printer, and it's going to ask you to open up the Windows control panel. So yeah, and then he's going to say that he can't find a printer, and then we'll just say okay. And we'll go to other options. We'll see what else we can do. We'll go about the letter writer. We'll see what this is. This is the Bob Letter Writer version 1.0a. I think most of these app versions are 1.0a. And it's just copyright Microsoft. It also has a spelling checker, which is copyright Soft Art Incorporated. And you can also see this is the option right here if you want to show or disable the startup tips when the Bob Letter Writer opens. So, you know, if you didn't want those, you could disable it here. So yeah, that's basically all there is to say about the Bob Letter Writer. You know, it's just like a basic word processor with some pretty nice features such as auto completing and, you know, things like that. So to exit any Bob application, you just have to go down here to the bottom right where it says exit, and then it'll say, are you sure you want to exit the Bob Letter Writer? So we'll just say yes, and now we're back to the main screen. And so I guess now we can move on, you know, to the, well, why don't we move on to the Bob checkbook? The Bob checkbook will just, you know, start this program. It's also version 1.0a, and that's when this other assistant comes in here. And, you know, this is a special assistant or like whatever that's just like only going to be in this one application. And there was a tour, but the previous recording that I had of this kind of didn't save properly, so I'm gonna have to redo it. I wonder if we can get the tour to go again, but maybe not. Can we go through tour? Let's see here. I don't know, maybe not, but so basically I didn't want to do, oh wait, actually see the guided tour. Here we go. So we'll do start the tour. So first, this is the account book, and this is where you will record all of your transactions and everything in here, kind of, you know, self-explanatory. And it tells you how it works. You would just put in all your information here, and it would like just put up into here, like after you have made like a bunch of transactions, it would all like show up in a list up here. And yeah, and then it says then he will update the register up here to display your entries, and then it tells you to pay online with this new, you know, quote unquote new service called pay online, and that's just, you know, kind of trying to save paper and whatnot. So you can go next, and then there's three different areas of this one application. As you can see down here at the bottom, there's the account book, the bill basket, and the report folder. So in here is where it contains all of your upcoming bills, and it tells you exactly how it works. It says once you enter the bills, he will remind you when they're due. Again, something that you don't have to think about; it just automatically does it. And then it goes. Now he's going to go to the report folder.
There we go.
And he's going to say, there we go. And under the report folder, he's put these 9 reports to help you look at your financial information in a you know, variety of ways that we can do here. And I think most of these just contain tips that you might want about financial information, which could also be helpful. And he also says more on reports. These reports, yes, can provide answers to many of the questions you may have. And I think that's basically the tour. And finally, move your, you just, you know, go down here. So I think that's basically it. So yeah, that's basically what this application is. And I think to enter, so yeah, we're gonna enter in, so we can say pay to, I don't know, a name of the company. Let's say pay to Microsoft. If I can spell properly, Microsoft Corporation. We'll say category. Yeah, okay, see, this is one of the things that's very annoying. See, I can't just go down here and like start, you know, putting in info. It's going to say, oops, you have to click this button first. So now it says, do you want to learn more about categories? And you have to say yes or no. Well, you know, I don't really want to know more about categories. I just want to select one. So I'll say no, not now. And then it lets you go and, you know, pick one like different category. But it would be useful if you wanted to know what these categories are. But if you already knew about them, and I think it does that every single time. So that can get very annoying. We'll just say transfer and memo. I don't know. I don't think we have to put in a memo. Main checking. That's what I named this account.
Seems to be a minor problem.
Yeah, and then I can't just go up here and, you know, put in the numbers or anything. I have to click on this OK button. And I think what we have to do now is click on enter it.
Are you sure about that?
Wait, you need to specify check number. Yes, I want to specify. So, okay, that was again kind of confusing. We'll say check number 1, amount, 50 cents. I don't know what. Let's do 50, and here we go, 0 and 50 over 100, and just auto completes that, and you say enter it. There. So yeah, now it's been entered. So it says, you know, the check number, which you can obviously just do 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, ascending, going down. The date of it, the payee, which is who you paid to, the payment, which I said 50 cents, and now your existing balance, which I think I put $500 in this account, so it just went down to $499.50. And it says look up here. This is where the you know, transactions are. It's all up here. And now the check background changes, I guess, every time you enter in a transaction, it changes. But yeah, that's basically it for the Bob checkbook. It's just a basic, and then it's gonna ask you if you want to back up your file. We'll say sure, and we'll do the hard drive. And it's been backed up. So yeah, that's it.
There we go.
I think, yeah, so that's it. And then Rover's gonna come back.